and it will tell us when. Woo, this meeting is being live streamed. All right. So let me get all the screens aligned here. I'm gonna have to mute some things. Okay. Oh, YouTube takes forever to load. We are live now, so hi everybody. I'm just waiting for things to catch up on my end. Yeah, say hi to Mel. Hi Mel. Hi Mel.
I don't have a bell. I'm gonna have to get a bell now. Damn.
Yeah, right. We all need a fairy bell. We all need a fairy bell in our life. I've had that thing for quite a few years.
Have you?
Yeah. It's when I have the altar set up, it comes out a lot. Pretty sure my neighbors are pretty annoyed by me ringing the bell though. I don't care.
You can ring my bell.
Yeah, ring my bell. Okay, so YouTube's taking a while. I'm gonna open it up on my phone. I'm gonna open it up on my phone and let that be. So welcome everyone in. When this comes on though, I need to keep that up. Oh my gosh. Because the sound is gonna start coming through. Yeah, sounding the 7 trumpets. Yeah. Gabriel is here. The angels are here. The choirs are here. I heard Gabriel's making his way through for this session today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what comes forward. There's a lot of cool stuff that's happening right now in the world, and in our collective groups, we're seeing it. So I'm excited, and that's what I just want to say to the subscribers: welcome in, welcome all. Love you guys. Mel and I are here. We're doing something. I still don't know what we're doing. I think we're figuring that out. We got 5 people in the house. Yeah, it's going somewhere. Come in and say hi. We're just kind of like, I'm waiting for YouTube to load here. But while we're here, welcome in, welcome all. Mel, you were here before. Do you want to introduce yourself to the world?
Hi, I'm Mel. I hate talking about myself. Yeah. I am a poet. I'm a writer. I'm a Reiki practitioner, energy healer. I use that word. I try not to use that word. Anyway, yeah, I do. What else do I do, Cory? I like to dive the cosmos.
That's right.
I love swimming the cosmos and my own psyche. I work a lot with the esoterics and the occult.
Yep.
It's a passion of mine. I like exploring that a lot. And yeah, that's about it. And I'm just winging it, just like everybody else. Taking every day as it comes. That's all we can do, right?
Yes, and rocking with the spontaneous expansion, right? Like taking that thread, that narrative, wherever it takes us to. And always using our tools of discernment. And I think that's a key here, right? Because like the one thing I appreciate about Mel is she can go there. There's not many people that can go there, but when you go there, you also can leave parts of yourself there. So you got to come back in wholeness, and then we got to wipe the turd off afterwards. And it's really nice, having someone like Mel who understands what we go through in these, like, because her and I work with a lot of alchemy, a lot of collective transmutation stuff. And it's exciting to have these show ups, but also too is we don't really, in this, we don't even know what's going to come forward. We're just kind of like showing up and just going to let the train take us. It was funny because right before we started, I said, keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times, right? Like just be mindful. We're on a train.
No, I'm kidding.
So who knows where we're going, what we're going to do. We're just going to have a conversation and just show up. And I think that's really important, guys, is like a lot of this, like the improvisation, right? Is that we can just show up with our instruments and jam. And that's what Mel and I are here doing today. So I don't even know what we're going to talk about. We have so many things going on in the crystalline collective, in the magic collective. There's a relief and a repair of some really important lines that we were discussing. But what I wanted to do is, rather than fix to anything, let's just open it up and see where we want to go. This is just a relaxed, easy conversation. Guys, I invite you to just kick back and chill, right? This is a safe, neutral space, right, of infinite love. of where we honor our freedom, our free will, and our sovereignty for all. And so the declaration of intention here for myself is to serve my source. And so as a result, we're working with unity consciousness, working with peace, and propagating a higher level of awareness within our own selves, within our own bodies, and with our own fields and our own space. So whatever will come through will come through. This is just a lighthearted conversation. I invite you guys to interact with us in the chat. Stop in, say what's up. I'm monitoring the chat. So if you guys have any questions for Mel or questions for me, please feel free to. This is, just an organic expression. Mel is a very, she to me, if I could wrap up Mel, the way I see Mel in one phrase or one free of limitation identity, we'll say spiritual gangster. And that's how I see Mel. She's a G. She kicks ass, takes names. Yeah, right. Yeah. She chose the thug life chose her. I'm just kidding. And so as a result, she's a very brave woman. She's got a lot of collie energy in her, but she's also got a lot of softness and kindness. She's very balanced in what she does. And so that's why it's nice having this expression with her, and representing a powerful divine feminine who can stand in their truth and can really stand in who they are. And so I appreciate you, Mel. I appreciate what you bring to the table. I appreciate your poetry. Your expression is very much so needed right now. And it's helped me to embody a level of my integrity of my creation and my art. And it's cool because the more we see you shine, the more you gift us to be able to shine in whatever that expression is. And I love the way you carry yourself, the way you hold yourself, and the way you experiment as well. You're a lot like me. And I appreciate how you experiment with your belief system, because I too am the scientific madman on my own. And I've had to learn from those experiences. So thank you for being an alchemist. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing your beauty with us.
Thank you. Thank you for all the kind words. Thank you. You're amazing. All right. So where do we want to go? I'm actually open to Q&As too, but I wanted to bring this up to you. So before we got on, and I was asking you about City Foursquare. Yes. And this has been a theme, or the Cosmic Cube Matrix. And this has been a theme running through my ascension process. So I always knew it was a part that I was working with that, and I want to say that everybody has these schematics, that we have these codes. And I had gotten this information off the Ascension glossary years ago. But to sum it up, it is a new architecture, which is considered the Eternal Life Foundation, and it's being built in the universal macrocosm. And as a result of the blue rays, the indigos, their brain activation, okay? So you have to bear with me because I'm reading off my notes because I can't say it verbatim.
That's fine.
So it's basically what it is. It's a blueprint for the Crystal Cathedral. Okay, it goes along with our crystalline networks.
Yes,
it represents the 4 planes of matter in the 4 quadrants of our universe.
Yep.
Now you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it. So thank you. I was like, I have no idea what she's talking about earlier, but I get it. Yes. Okay.
So then it's also the 4 elemental bases. So the City Foursquare contains the blueprints of the solar Christ identity of the 144,000 archetypes of the sons and daughters of God that are building the cathedral.
Yeah, the monad.
Yeah. Well, see, you have different terms, and I'm not sure. I don't have the terminology like you do. I just see it, I know it, and I understand it.
Yeah.
All right. So cool. So you just know it from a different perspective.
Yes.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on it?
So first off, we are the crystal cube. If we look at the 4 planes of existence, we can look at the 4 bodies: the spiritual body, right? The emotional body, the mental body, and the physical body. Essentially when we're looking at the crystalline cathedrals, the way that this wants to come forward right now is what we're building within the form, right? So it's the restructuring of our epigenetic blueprint, right? It's awakening what that 12D template is within ourselves, but also how are we the crystalline kingdom? How are we the crystalline cave of creation? How are we that, right? There was a period in time where, for myself, a lot of people have been awakening this, right? So we've been seeing it with the retreat centers. This is the way that because it all ties down to the builder codes and the architecture, especially when it comes to the crystalline castles, right? So these heavens on earth that exist within us is what we're rebuilding and repairing in every now moment, because we are that walking kingdom or that crystalline castle.
Yeah.
So I've seen people turn this into temple spaces. People will turn this into the one that came through for me with the Sophia lineages was the tabernacle, right? Which is you are the holy space, and the rebuilding of that holy space, and then how we in the microcosm come together to build that within humanity. But essentially, it's a return to our own crystalline architecture. So I see like the crystals of Lemuria, right? Which is a really interesting key code, because there is, you know, and this is according to the storylines that I'm aware of, right, in my own life. Now, let's just be mindful, guys, that, and I want to state this for myself as well, is that when it comes to these storylines and these narratives, I've seen so many different versions of this, right? But it kind of ties back to the Guardians, right? And the Galactic Guardians and what the founder races did coming down. And a lot of this was that with Lemuria, we had a lot of crystalline codes in Lemuria that had to be almost kept secret because of the distortion that was carrying on from Atlantis and from a lot of those third dimensional storylines of the distorted masculine that was distorting our archival memory. So us restoring our origin code, our original template, right, it's really bringing back that, what I would call the Lemurian codex, back into our body to be able to awaken to who we are in our true Christed template. So we look at the high angelic, the seraphim, the ophanim, right, the oraphim, and all those lineages held a lot of distortion for a long time. And it's because of what we have been encountering with the third dimensional fallen matrix and a lot of like the old Anu stuff and the Luciferian concepts and all the reversal, right? Because if we can see this, right, like we can see the repair networks going into what we call in the organic or the origin. And we have a lot of this also going into the reversal technology, which is like, are we breathing life code or are we breathing death code? And so at the end of the day, this repair that I'm aware of, like as we see this occurring out here, we saw it when the solar rishi came back. We saw it with the activation of the primal sound field, which is like coming back into the universal expression of sound and tone as the building of the future, back to the Elohim coding, back to the source creator coding, so on and so forth. So my awareness of this is that we are actually repairing that within our form. And some of us carry certain lineages to embody that here on earth. So like for myself, when it came to anchoring these upper dimensionals into my body, it was Pleiades. It was anchoring the seven sisters into the body and then connecting with that and basically being that star civilization. So like we all hold certain characteristics of this, like the crystalline, as I'm seeing this, how I'm unpacking it right now, we all hold different civilizations within our body, and we're here to anchor that here into the form so we can share that as a part of the multidimensional expression and repairing Gaia. We can see this with Telos, inner Earth, right? We can also see this with Lemuria. We can see this with Atlantis. We can see this with other star civilizations, Orion, Sirius B, Lyra, Vega, right? And you know, Tartaria, Maldek, and like and some of those storylines, right? Like some of those storylines we don't want to appear again because of they were very fallen and distorted and disgusting. But either way, what we're doing is we're really bringing us back into who are we as the 12D crystalline avatar, right? Which is that we are the monad, we are the oversoul, which means that a part of our monadic architecture is that we now have to bring in forward and through every part of the monad into a place of unity consciousness. Because once again, the archetypes, especially the fallen fathers, the fallen sisters, the fallen angelics, all the destroyer codes, which yes, destruction is a part of creation, but a lot of that is created division within the monad. And so now what we're doing is repairing that. And there's people that have been working endlessly on this, on repairing the monad to bring it back into what it is to be unity consciousness and source consciousness. So that's my awareness of it. As I see the crystal cube matrix, it really very much so takes me to kind of like what's been going on with Saturn, right? And the stuff that's been going on with, I think it's the hexagram, which I'm not aware of, right? But like I see it. I see it, and we're repairing a lot of that, because we also have to witness too that there's been a lot of distortion in the storylines. So a lot of us have witnessed certain agendas take place that we're currently clearing out and finding what is the nugget of truth and clarity for ourselves regarding these things, especially when we look at separation consciousness, the divide and conquer strategies that have been happening in the world, and how we're returning back to unity and back to oneness. So, you know, for myself, it's a part of us. With the crystallite cube network, I see it. It's like a higher dimensional essentially like we're building the bridge to what that is, to that upper dimensional floor, upper dimensional realm. But we anchor it within, and then we expand it into here, and we're the ones that bridge into whatever that realm is. But a lot of this ties into what we're doing to try to awaken the new humanity here on Earth, right? So all of us being beacons and pillars of that throughout the nodal points of the grid, we're here anchoring that and then finding one another within the field to build these communities and to bring these things back into fruition as the divine essence or the true you in the origin code, in your origin codes. So,
okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So what are you getting from it now?
No, I always saw it as it was basically a schematic. It was it's a blueprint that, you know, we access. And yeah, once you have it come online, which helps you create and build, you know, your various light bodies, and the more light that you can hold. And it's another part of, I guess I want to say it's like a key, but it's just like sacred geometry. You know what I mean? And it's funny that you said about the hexagram, because was it a couple months ago? And I was doing, you know, what I do. And I ended up drawing this. And I was working with the hexagram, and it's inside the Chicana or the Andean cross.
Yep.
And the way that they had shown it to me was from a cosmic viewpoint, it was actually creating a seal that was blocking out and like protecting the earth. So I don't, again, these are just like, I get little bits and pieces, and that's why I got notes everywhere so that I can go back when I get another piece and then put the puzzle together, you know what I mean? And go from there, because my channeling's it just goes that way.
So does it tie into the song lines? Because I'm getting the song lines and the dragon lines. Because remember, there was a time where, I don't know if anyone else knew this on grid work, the magnetic line shut down and we awoke in the crystalline grid.
Yes.
Right. So then it was like the crystalline grid, the integrated grid, the plasma grid, the diamond grid, which all ties into our light body stages as well. Right. But it feels like, and I've noticed Russell's been bringing this up too, has been awakening the dragon lines, the song lines, the original magnetic ley lines. It's almost like those ancient codes and that ancient magic wasn't allowed to come back until we stabilized at a certain frequency to be able to release it because of the level of subjugation, right? Once again, that return of that's the ancient future kind of coming back. So I want you to flow with that if you want to, regarding what this seal means to you, because this feels important.
Well,
Indian cross.
So, and again, I think it's important. And it has a lot to do with all of us really focusing on our own Trinity, our own Trinitization. And you can do that if you know, whatever religion you follow. If you follow religion, it doesn't matter. But the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I use the triple goddess. You know what I mean? So however you can stay focused with the Trinitization will help you integrate your own masculine, feminine energies, creating your divine child. You know what I mean? So when I drew this, I was shown it was the sun and moon ruling over the four elements that are all united with spirit, and it's balancing the cosmic forces.
Yeah.
And you've been seeing, and I know you've been getting messages about this too, about the cosmic ordering. Maya is just coming in, and there is a cosmic balance happening all over, you know, and you're seeing that here. So with this, I was seeing it was the Hieros Gamos, and creating a hermetic seal.
Yes.
Union and opposite. So you're just seeing more of this coalescence and the Hieros Gamos in various energies. Yeah. You know, so we are seeing the unified field is really coming together. Oh shit.
Oh yeah, it's big time coming together. And like for myself, it's been the restoration of the Christos avatar. You know, because once again, that's a part of my blueprint is the Christos avatar. And so a lot of that is awakening the Sophia, you know, within us, what it means to be the Christ avatar, the 12th dimensional and higher avatar connected to the oversoul, the embodiment of that, the access points, the architecture, dissolving the old architecture, the slave systems. That it's like it is like a big repair when we look at where creation has gone to, you know, because there was a level of destruction and deconstruction that was implemented in this civilization and across many civilizations that created a lot of very interesting sequences within this game, within this consciousness. And, you know, and for those of us that have any sort of awareness of Lyra hacked its own matrix. And then, of course, there was the fall of the civilization that happened with all the stuff with Lyra, you know. And so as a result, like, that's why some of us of the founder races are here, because we've done this before and we hold the key code to unlock the game and to unlock the sequence. And so it's cool because I love how you're saying, you know, Heros Gamos, the hermetic seal, you know, that it's anchoring all these things in to bring in what these future versions are, right? And what's interesting is I really feel like I had there was a sister who mentioned this to me, that actually, when it comes to the architecture, we actually only have about maybe 6 or more versions of us that are available here on planet Earth. But once again, we've been fractaled down for so much over time and space that when we start to bring everything back to the founder or to the Elohim, there's only maybe really 6 or 7 different groups or versions, but we've been fractaled off in the storylines. We're constantly repairing that. And it was interesting because I was just drawn there as a part of the thread and the theme. But I love how you're bringing this forward, because we can we can speak of this as union, the Trinity. This is the same thing with the tabernacle, right? So the tabernacle, we look at the representation of architecture throughout history, right? So when we look at like the obelisk, when we look at the temples, right? All of them hold that sacred coding for who we are within the body, the building being the representation of that. So a lot of this is that ancient builder code, which ties into the 22. That builder code is for us is like, as it's translated for us, for some people, it might be the pyramids, right? Might be the Akashic records. It might be like, for me, the tabernacle has been such a focus because of the Christ component, is that it's all being transmitted and translated in a different way. And so either way, it's coming back into what it is to be that divine human integrated. And then what we're here to do to complete out this planetary ascension cycle, so we don't have to play back into the third dimensional fallen matrix, and we can come back to the breath of life.
Yes.
The spirals of God, you know?
Yes.
So.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay.
So about this template though, guys, is that when we access this template, okay, the origin code template, it will change your life forever. Because now a lot of us have to dissolve what the human wants and the human needs are to awaken to what it is to live this planetary ascension cycle, and to get moving into a place where we all graduate. I talked about it earlier about graduation day, right? So the thing is that the thing about these templates and these origin codes is it doesn't mean our life gets harder, but there are some things that a bunch of us have had to do where we've had to shift out of and to say no more to, and almost in a way give up. I don't like the word sacrifice, but there's things that we had to give up to make sure that we get through and we repair these templates, that we repair these grids, and we get this done. And so a lot of that right now for myself, I'll speak at a personal level, I had to set aside a lot of the mission stuff because it was really about keying into my happiness. But it also does tie into this template, this origin template of getting all of our key codes back online, getting all the reversals out, getting our high angelic, our seraphim DNA online, restoring our archival memory. And then as a result, the thing is that's the solutions for humanity are held in this archival memory.
Yeah.
So we're going to see increases in, you know, when it comes to medicine, right? Oh, wait, our bodies can heal. Oh, wait a minute, song can actually build, right? Like, so when I got the download, I mentioned this in TWC, and I want to know if you've gotten any of these things, was I was shown about music with the crystalline castles. And I was shown, like, because for a while, my universe was like, Cory, you need to go to Santa Monica and you need to just play music. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you need to become a busker. And I was like, I've already done the homeless hippie crap. I'm not doing this again, right? Like, and I'm me advocating and arguing with my universe, right? But they showed me, they said, Cory, this is what you're going to see. And it showed the third dimensional perspective of a guy playing guitar. And then it went quantum, and it showed that with every string and every riff, we're actually weaving these crystalline castles and anchoring it in. We're sharing the codes, but we're also, there are people right now that are doing this, that are actually weaving these kingdoms or queendoms, right? If we want these realms, and are anchoring them. through their art and through their creation. And it can be very, it might seem like it's not as grandiose and as big as we might appear to be, but that's the subtle realms, even with overtone singing, right? So if I'm
just gonna say that
overtone singing as well is like, I was shown that as we're doing overtone singing, so let's say that you know, I'm sharing, like, so if we go into the Mongolian throat singing, right, 2 octaves or two notes playing at the same time, there's also the reverberance of the etheric DNA of that as well, which is the unseen. And so while we're hearing this, we also have the unseen that's being woven through our field and being anchored as well. And so that's why for some of us, we've been getting that clarion call, like, I need to play music more, or I need to dance, or I need to sing, or and it might not make a lot of sense about what that does. But when you tune into the subtle realms and what that does with activating our DNA, with our builder codes, right, and what it does with our magic, it's a lot more powerful than we might perceive in this construct. And that's why we have to be open to what the magic and the miracle is bringing up for us in regards to our trajectories. Because there has been a lot of creation focus for us, but it's not been like creation focus, like be a businessman or an entrepreneur. The focus has been a lot on the arts. And so this tying to the song lines feels very important for some of us with the builder codes, that the music itself is building realities. And that's why there's been a focus on that. So
I agree. Like, because it's funny that you say that. And I haven't figured out how it all works. But you know, I was shown about with the Mongolian throat singing, and you know, I know some people do toning, but what I started doing, it's the vibration, you know, and I just start making noises like, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you, and I have it recorded. I was doing this one night, and I just felt the energy in me, and when I recorded it, there was a bell. Through that vibration, there was a bell that I'll have to send you the file.
Okay.
I sent it to my brother Rob, and I like shit myself. I was like, oh my God, what is that? How did I do that? But it created a bell just like with the voice. So there's something there. And for me, I find that there's a lot more to this thing with sound, our voices. Because for months now, I've been doing this. This is something very big, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it means.
I do it in my heart too. I do the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like a silent language. It's a language, and it's sung through the lines. We're singing through earth. And remember when we first all came in at TWC, and I just got blasted by the universe, and I saw the whole thing. It was like I received a monadic download of how it all worked, and how we're all linked all over the grid, and we're literally singing in harmony with each other energetically. We may not know it or not, but through our art, through our music, through our whatever, through your light language, it's I don't even know. I get excited though, because I can just see it, but I don't know how to always explain it.
Well, so here's the thing: is this is where we start to dive into the telepathic realms, so the telepathic realms are one thing, one part of it, but like we all hold an energetic signature, which is our soul signature, which does shift. You know, and that's what I've noticed is that, like, even though we carry kind of like a baseline signature, the waveform that oscillates also carries a frequency or a tone. And this is why, like, I was just talking to Willow about this earlier, where she will hear someone's voice and she's like, I know them, right? Because she's met that tone before through the grids. This is connected back to the mycelium network or the fungal network, right? Which is one of the most ancient networks that we have alive right now is the mycelium network. It's our fungal network. So for those of us that have been connected to the elemental realms and connected to the fungal and connected to the mycelium, we've been communicating this entire time. And a lot of us are awakening to when we meet the signature in person or have that connection, there's that reverberance. I know you. How do I know you? Because it's a familiar waveform or a familiar frequency that we felt because we felt it within our own energetic architecture. And this is why a lot of us will start to hear each other before we actually meet each other in the physical. And this is what will happen with when we start to come into the unity consciousness, is that we will have the telepathic communication. We will have the dream time work where we're working together, and then we finally meet in the physical. And this is why I found for a while that like I would meet these people in the ethers, and people that I like that are known, right? And knowing that there's a connection, and knowing that at some point in my journey, as things align and our energetic vibration matches, we will meet in the physical. This is the song lines, the crystalline grid, the waveform, the signature. And we all hold a unique signature and a unique essence. And I feel like a big part of us standing into our unique authenticity as the individuation is this is how we find one another. Because if I wear a mask or a distortion and I send that out with my signature, what am I doing? I'm sending out, it's not my purified frequency. And so this is why we have to step into that level of embodiment of trusting that we're going to do what we're here to do, because that signature is the key code for finding home, not only within ourselves, but within one another. Right. And so a lot of us, right, we related with cultural templates for a while. So we were looking at skin tone. We would look at physical features. We would look at genetics. Then we start looking at, you know, the different networks by city, by civilization, whatever. We knew how to recognize each other through form. And now that we're stepping into the quantum or into the etheric or subtle realms, it's how do we know each other through signature? How do we know each other through frequency, which is a state of feeling? This is why it's really important for us to feel and to shift through the distortion, because we're finding each other through feeling. Have you ever gone into a room and you just light up and you're like, I know someone's here. Like you're like, I smell you.
You're
Where
sniffing
are
them out.
Yeah, sniffing them out. And there's that like that chance encounter or that miracle, right? Because you've been sending that waveform, that frequency through the grids, and we were just waiting for that to align. And right now that we're all connecting more at higher and higher levels to the song lines, to the crystalline grids, to the crystalline architecture, we've been pulsing out our clarion call. Our smoke signal is out. And we're all heeding the call as a part of our energy. This is why I talk about energetic migration, because we're finding the flock, we're finding the tribe, which sometimes will end up as a, like, so if we can see that we have multiple monads, right? It will be like your origin monad, and that extends out into the oneness of the entire collective. Because really, we don't want to play into the 12 tribes or the 13 tribes and keep propagating that story of this tribe versus that, because it's like, there's separation within the tribe or the monad that unifies. And then we have tribal and monadic separation, which then comes together, which creates the oneness perspective, right? So where we're at on the level of consciousness and within the unified field and within our source expression, we won't feel the divide, but we want to work through all that polarity. So we come back into what this unified civilization is and how we're building these constructs. The thing is, though, is there's still a lot of distortion to shift through, especially when it comes to NWO, when it comes to political agenda, things like that, is that this unified expression of us as a unified collective coming together doesn't have to be propagated into certain storylines that have been riddled throughout time and space. But also, too, the awareness of this event occurring, the planetary ascension cycle of us unifying, has also created a lot of distortion that was placed there on purpose to see if we would fall for the consciousness trap. So this is where we become aware that, like, just because we're living and breathing unity and unified consciousness doesn't mean that we're upholding some sort of quote unquote agenda, but it is a part of the storyline and it's a part of the repair. This is why these grid network repairs are important, and also us keying into these signatures, because your signature is what holds your value. That's your key code. That's your DNA. That's your regenerative force. This is how you heal your body. This is how you activate the various pathways. This is how everything you need, the Holy Grail, is within your signature. And this is how we're all communicating right now through the song lines and through the grids. And the unique expression is what aligns us to our authentic alignment. And that authentic alignment is what gives us the opportunity to find more of our people. So
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, that was cool.
Right?
Cool.
How is everybody? Everybody good?
That's what I'm saying.
Are you guys putting up with our shenanigans and ramblings?
I think people are listening right now. There's no questions. If you guys have any questions or you want to type in, like if you've been getting similar downloads, please, this is a co-creative expression. Feel free to tie in. Love this free flow. Hee hee choo choo. The beautiful express is on. That's right, Ray. The Seeker says Mel is amazing. Yes,
thank you.
Yeah, the humming, the clicking, the light language, the sigils, you know, guys, the thing is that when it comes to us sending our tone and sounding ourselves, you know, even myself growing up, that annoyed the shit out of people, right? But that was also my galactic signature. You know, and so like the thing is that when we're working with sound, we all have these, you know, I don't want to say we all do, but like I've noticed that some of us have these like, and for a while it was tied to ADD. It was tied to starseed lineages, the clicks, the hums, the tapping, you know, and it's like for us trying to communicate as soul in a third dimensional construct back to Babel, Tower of Babel, where we at an intrinsic level know that the spells that we've been casting are distorted. How do we find one another when we don't want to share the darn words that keep distorting our DNA?
That's amazing. That's interesting that you just said that, because again, I kept hearing Tower of Babel, Tower of Babel. So then I went in and I read it. I had to go read the passage and everything about it. And basically everyone had the same language and worked together to unify, and they were working to build the tower together. And then supposedly God came down and said something like, well, he split them everybody apart and scattered them all over the world, basically, and gave them different languages to see if they could come back and unify again. That's fascinating.
This is Zeus tied. Remember we were talking about Zeus? 6 sons, 6 daughters, the separation. This is that distortion. And this is something that, like, you know, and even back to, I think it's the story of Brahma, right? Like, is like back to, we fragmented off to put the pieces back together. The thing with Babel and Babel, and I wish Angel was here, because Angelfish is the one that really ignited the Babel thing to me in the Babel story, is we have to look at the limitations of the coding of our own language, our own linguistics, where it was propagated because of the reversals of DNA, where our spells were working against us. Once we upgraded the codex, we got all the seals broken through in our throat and in our light body and in our light codes. Our words are now as living light code keepers, right? As the quantum library, our words are now building realities. And this is where, even for myself recently, I've had a few moments with people where I don't even want to talk, because I'm in this place where I recognize no matter what I say, it will bring distortion. Which is why sometimes some of us have to take a break and just go silent right now, because when we awaken out of the Babel or the Babel, where our constructs and our words have been distorted and used against us, now we come back into sound, tone, and vibration, which is, how do I translate that through my body and express it without having to do words? Dance. And then also to the fluidity of source. If we look at the constructs of human language, it creates a lot of boxes. The, he, pe, pi, pu, ka, ke. We're sitting there and we are separating source consciousness. Pure source. It's flowy. And so we see that we, even in language, with enunciation of syllables, have created separation from source. And even, like, think about the war on truth. Another division game to fight over Babel. And a lot of us right now, this is why the quantum archives, the library has been coming up a lot, is because we do share this tower. And the tribes are coming together to rebuild the tower, which means we're sharing archival record, which means my codex and your codex, 2 puzzle pieces, come together to reassemble this. But we cannot be greedy or stingy with our light codes, because it's important for us to repair that network so we can get back our true language, because this is where a lot of our mysteries are, our secrets, and this is how we end the game. Because it is within language and the constructs of language that the third dimensional systems were built. Let's look at Enki and Enlil, right? Back to then, you know, back to the gods and Mesopotamia, is that they gifted us language. But exactly what did they gift us? Back, this is Jupiter, Marduk. This is exactly the stuff we were talking about before this. I was wondering how it was going to thread in. It threads in. Is like, is our own language has been used against us. And so now we are empowering ourselves in the collective to take our language and to use it for good, which is to build those realities that are supporting life and not propagating death. but it's also the awareness too that it's sometimes silence is golden. Think about that. Because within that, we don't have to build anything. We're just energy. And these memories, and what we're bringing forward medicine. We're bringing forward ancient technology. We're bringing forward stargates. We're bringing forward portals. We're bringing forward super awareness and capabilities. And a lot of this is going to gift us the opportunity to know where we have fallen, where we will rise again, and also tuning into the level of awareness where we cannot be subjugated anymore because we hold the library key. And so this is where it's been really important for us to really, even for myself, the physical body ascension, cleansing things, getting the archival record back on was for myself is when I was given my Lemurian crystal, I was told how important it was. And once I got it back, that's when life got harder, right? Was because those key codes are important. That origin template is important because we're going to end some very decaying civilizations and open up to what thriving is within these mystical kingdoms of creation that we're all co-creating right now. So Babel is important. The words are important. This is why we've been talking about spells. And even for myself, looking at different words that I use and breaking them down. What is the etymology? What does it mean?
Yes.
Because all of it casts spells. And so even our own magic has been corrupted and disrupted. And it's sad. And this is where, for us, a lot of us, as we're awakening this memory, we find it might be even more and more difficult to live in these constructs because we know how distorted it's gotten. But we're building up resilience, right? And we're aware that we're here to repair that network. And this is why it's important for myself, why we repair the narrative and the stories amongst the tribe or the monad, because this archival record is important. We're all co-creating these libraries right now. And this is why, I mentioned the story and the dissolve of the story, and many of us don't go into the narrative and let's end these stories, is because we want to put the tower back together. And when we want to have our original thought and our original word, the God thought and the word of God, the true word of God, the true word of God, or the goddess or source, right? You know what I mean? So anyway.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Very much so. And symbols too. That's always been one of my things is, especially with the occult symbols, and they've been hijacked for forever long. And I know that was something I always worked with since I woke up was, I don't want to say re-inverting, but taking the inversion, and fixing it because, and changing the energy on that. So it's helpful. There's certain symbols and people are like, oh, don't go there. Don't go there. All you have to do is change your perspective about it. What does it mean to you? Not what other people have told you what it means. What does it bring up for you? And if it's bringing up a fear or whatever, it's good to ask yourself, what is that? Why do I have that belief? Those type of things. But it's reclaiming that back because to their original source.
And it's because, once again, it's like, we saw this with the swastika. That's a big one. And a lot happened in World War II, guys, that propagated a lot of these death spirals that we've been going through. The other day I saw it, saw the Thunderbird on a sign. Like, so I'm in Arizona, right? And I'm driving with my sister and I saw the Thunderbird and I'm like, oh, look at that. There's a little reminder of World War II, right? Like, just stamped right there on the side of a semi-truck, right? Imprint, societal imprint. Same thing happens with cathedrals, right? Let's see in the United Kingdom, the unicorn being slayed, the lion, the cross. All of these hold societal imprinting. And so this is why a lot of people want to do away with the artifacts, but a lot of it has to do with recoding. Let's not get rid of the artifacts here, because that's a whole nother, we're not going to get into the architecture and the artifacts because I think it's sacred. But like, let's also get into the fact that, like, yes, there has been a lot that has been propagated and distorted because, once again, whether or not they're aware of it, it was orchestrated as such. Like the swastika, a symbol of peace in Buddhism, turned into genocide. That's the way the fallen constructs work. Let's take peace and turn it into death. Let's take life and turn it into fear. And this is why we work with a lot of the DNA and why there's a lot of discussion of, you know, the organic trajectories and the organic elements and the organic alchemy, Gaia's natural resources, because she's expressing this now to us through her song, through her trees, and what these codes mean to us. And, you know, there's so many different theories that we can pick apart and dissect. Either way, it's bringing everything back to life, flourishing. Yes. The Eden code, where the mysteries aren't going to kill us. The mysteries are going to reveal who we are, and we can explore those depths and we can build with them. Right. And so a lot of that is that return of the kingdoms, of the crystalline kingdoms, the Christ, the heaven, whatever we want to call it, from within. And this ties into a lot of the Hermetic stuff, ancient Egypt, all these lines harmonize. We're birthing what it is to return the feminine to the planet. And then how the masculine falls into that, because that too has its own lenses that's unfolding for us. But yes, it's these symbols are important because it's held within our landscape. This coding is held on billboards, it's held on TV, it's held, you go into the supermarket and you are flooded with subliminals. You're flooded with codes, you know, and so it's important for us, you know, for some of us to discover what some of these mysteries are and to unveil them, but not from a place of he said, she said. It's witnessing it from our own archival memory and what it means to us as we restore that too. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So we delved the mysteries.
We did delve the mysteries. What else has been going on with you? Let's talk a little bit about the masculine. I feel like you and I, because Reem brought it up earlier. I'm supporting Reem in her work with the divine masculine and all this stuff with the Christ, because there's stuff that I've been seeing from it too. I want to hear your perspective on this and what you've been witnessing, because we both hopped on this call very excited about this revelation that she's bringing forward and what our own awareness is. And I would like to unpack that further with you, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, we've all sensed this, you know, and you brought this up as well about like the father, where's the father energy? You know, we always talk about the mother, and unfortunately we all know the mother and the feminine lines have been suppressed. Yeah. And the masculine lines have been strictly distortion and power and subjugation and all that. But if we're balancing and bringing harmony here on Earth, like, and you made a good point, well, there must be a Father Earth, and again, you know, with the feminine rising, the masculine's rising. And when I was working with again, I don't follow the Gregorian, but I do it just to play, I guess you could say. We reset. Okay. Last year and I had strictly got this message that it was the feminine rising in the masculine. So I kept being shown that this new masculine would be birthing, that he would start to rise. But again, we had to clear out all the toxic masculinity and heal a lot of these. And you talk about the storylines of war and all that we don't need to keep doing that.
Yeah. And
I find that a lot of those war stories are really, you can see now how we're all real. It's more of an internal, you know, than an external thing that we're carrying that we have to work through and alchemize and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where does my mind want to go? I don't know how it's going to unfold, but I know the energy's there. I can sense it, you know, and I keep just getting little things come in talking about this. And it's gentler, you know, it is a feminine masculine within the masculine. Again, it's back to the Hieros Gamos within individualized energies. That's all I got right now. What do you think?
Well, you know, we see this with the softening of Mars. You know, Mars and Venus conjunct right now is going to bring this up too. Is like, there is, you know, even myself, right? Because I've delved into this, and this is just for my own This can, by the way, just forewarning, this can get a little Socratic because I've not found a singular form of truth in this. This is back to that diamond light consciousness. I see the perspectives. I see where there's truth, and it's about what's right for me. And it ties back to the god of war. Some things don't want to leave in peace. Some constructs don't want to get obliterated as love. And I've found that there is some sort of force that is required to shift out some of these belief systems and constructs. We can see it as a catalyst, the explosive energy, right? So let's just say that there's a bombshell, not literal, guys, we're not speaking of literal explosions. YouTube, please don't shut me down. Algorithm, I love you. The algorithm likes to dance. Okay. Think about bombshells, right? Like, so when we talk about, oh, there's this bombshell disclosure, right? That's that explosive energy. That's the catalyst, the catalytic energy that breaks something apart. So when we see that, a supernova, enough heat and pressure build up to be able to explode this gas into what births a new star and births a form of creation. And so to tie it back to the cosmic level of what power it requires to deconstruct and reconstruct a reality or a civilization or a star system is interesting. And this is where the energy of war, I'm recognizing that destruction is a part of creation. We cannot negate polarity and the law of polarity. But then also though too is that I've witnessed within my own self, because of my own journey and who I am within this form of consciousness, is that some of the things that needed to leave my body needed to get beaten out of me. Think about heat and pressure creating the diamond, right? Dark matter creating that. We were talking about dark matter the other day. Remember we were talking about the story of the hand of God putting pressure on us to where we just collapsed, and it was us anchoring our oversoul. I don't know if anyone else has gone through that, where the hand of God has shown up and you just like literally fall, like your body's just like, nope. And that's the dark matter. That's the pressure point that provides the awareness for us to expand. And so that downward pressure is necessary. Back to the war stories. We don't want to keep the fight alive, right? Especially when it comes to the tribes and the civilizations, but I also see the importance of it. And this is where it's interesting, because the masculine archetype itself that I'm witnessing within my own life, it is softening. And right now we're seeing this as a lot of people want to get Jesus off the face of this earth. I understand. I get it. I get, because of the dogmatic conditioning and what's happened. If we go into what's happened with the Romans, what's happened with Christianity, I get it. But the feminine essence of light is something that is necessary for us. And it does serve as an archetype. So we're seeing a birthing of the Father, right? And I'm even feeling it is that, like, I'm seeing a softening and a more peaceful masculine that's showing up, but it's balanced, it's unified, and it's in union with itself. But there are certain primal conditionings that are important for constructs, right? Important for the masculine to embody what it is. And a part of the role of the gender of the male is, like, we have to go back to the primal or the primordial male, which is hunter, gatherer, hoorah, muscle man, I eat food, I hunt, right? And it's like, and that's an important part of the human conditioning. Now, how is it going to shift? I am noticing a softening in my own record, and this is back to the, we were talking about that, solar logos. Solar logos is split into masculine and feminine polarity. The Sophia constructs a feminine principality that has a masculine construct in it, which is the action, which helps to drive in the creation. So at the energetic level, the masculine's always existed. It's the drive. It's the action. But how it exists within our human constructs is what is changing, which is the softening. And it depends upon what catalytic narrative the world needs to see to offer a choice point. Because the more loud and catalytic and drastic it is, the more that we choose differently. Look at COVID. That needed to happen for us to choose differently as a collective. The war in Ukraine. Similar thing. So I'm witnessing this shift in my own life, and also too, it's important for the empowerment of the female form right now, right? Is we need the women in their power to stand up and to be able to speak their voice and to speak their truth. But we have to look at, for myself at least, is it propagating divide or is it propagating war? And right now we're seeing a lot of the we're seeing a lot of the Christ lines blending and merging with the magic lines. And this is something that I witnessed. I don't know if you've seen this at all. Maybe you can share on this a little bit more too, because I want you to be able to share. Is that the other day I woke up from a dream. I was in the Temple of Isis, and I was a mage with angelic wings. And I knew that there was a merger, or because whenever I get finalized with some sort of completion, I will see a different version of my archetype. So the last one was the lunar one, which I was Pleiadian blue, galactic, on a broom, breathing dragon fire. So it was like this galactic shaman witch that was a dragon that was flying to the moon. So I was like a cosmic, like a galactic shaman. And I knew that we had finished some sort of archetypal function in merger. And this one was really important because it was the magic blended with the angelics, which means that there was some sort of peace propagated between the Christ lines and the magicians, which is bringing forward that softened masculine, because we had a lot of old alchemists that were really dangerous. Okay. Right. A lot of old alchemists that were very dangerous. And now we're awakening that new alchemist. We want those ancient codex aligned and arrive, but some of those alchemists still want to breathe death. That's a part of that fallen matrix and that fallen system. And we are trying to get things back into that planetary ascension cycle where we all graduate, right? And we're not breathing into that death, but we're reconstructing what our true origin DNA is, so we can have access to that, because it ties into a lot of systems, ties into a lot of different things. So anyways, this is why it's important for that repair process. And this is what I'm seeing, is that like we're basically kind of going down into the lower floors, clearing out those tombs, and rising up what the purified codex is of that. Because once again, we need the DNA record. We need the purified archival record. So we have to go down there and shift out all the stories. And not that we want to remove the story and get the story gone, but we want to clear the distortion so we know what the purified codex is for our own archival memory. And this is why a lot of people are like, they don't want to shift stories. I know people personally that do not want to shift certain stories. I'm like, that's fine. Choose Chawapidazane, because I can't propagate that awareness with what I'm trying to do with myself in this planetary ascension cycle. We're here to retrieve this code and to get it done. And it can be a little savage and ruthless at times. Like there's memories that I've lost. There's memories and things that I loved that I had to let go of. Mm-hmm. That was a part of this repair, though, was that there was a false or distorted storyline that was fueling and propagating that death spiral. And we're coming back into what it is to breathe life into those codes. So anyways, very long-winded way to say, yes, the masculine is softening. Yeah. And there's a lot of soul retrieval and a lot of memory that's coming through, and a lot of like the lower shadowy stuff that's coming back into consciousness, and a lot of upgrades happening with those realms too. So our monsters are getting a little bit of an ascension school right now, and it's fun because they're now getting along better with us. I don't know if anyone else plays with their monsters or their shadows or their daemons, but they are nicer now. Well, at least mine are. So.
Well, and that's the thing, and I don't think we look at all this, with this separation and polarity and, collapsing timelines and getting rid of this and getting rid of that. And if you think about it, it's all alchemy. We are willing to alchemize these storylines, and all these things to elevate them to their higher octave. It's just like when you're doing your shadow work, you're not getting rid of your shadows. You were elevating your shadow to a higher octave. It goes with you, so it's the same thing. We can see this as at the planets. Everybody's like, Saturn and Mars. It has a higher frequency. And those that are really against the whole, the whole storylines with the moon and stuff. And it's like, do you not see the beauty? Do you not see the higher octave that it is? And if you want to see that the moon is masculine as well, it's like you will find the subtlety, you will find the energy, and it will speak to you.
Yeah.
So it's like we're not really getting rid of it. If we're ascending to several layers or levels, dimensions, whatever, so is everything else. There is a higher dimensional energy of that entity. So, but we want to get, many people get stuck on that and say like, life's so hard and I'm receiving all this crap and Saturn's, dad's punching me, whatever. It's not really, it's again, changing your perspective and your connection here's the thing. I don't think people connect deeply enough with what they encounter in their environment, or their thought forms, or their emotions, people, animals, whatever. I mean, me personally, I have a very intimate connection with things. And there's an energy exchange. It is, you know, a fluid. And you can learn a lot about even inanimate objects. And that's the whole thing about animism, and having that connection, because everything has a spirit, everything has a place, a spirit of place that resides in there, it has a consciousness, bottom line. And it's learning to get intimate with that. But you got to get intimate with yourself first. And people don't want to get intimate with themselves. And I don't mean that like sexually. I mean, you take it as you will, but yeah, that, how do you really know yourself? If you're, you know, you're not willing to go deep.
And also to connect these parts and versions, right? Because like even within animism, right? Like, so if I'm going through a Gaian merger, right? So if a part of my templating structure is to merge with Gaia fully, to embody Gaia, it's going to be important for me to work with the consciousness constructs of animism within the plant kingdom, because that is an intimate part of me within that merger as source consciousness. Now, at a human level, it might not be if I'm playing in separation, but even a part of that intimate connection with self is how I'm connecting to the consciousness. And the thing is even myself, I do this, right? Shadow days come in, right? All of a sudden, knock, knock, who's there? Devil's at your door. God damn it, devil, what do you want? Right? And like, and a lot of people are like, fuck you, devil, get out of here. I don't want to deal with you, you know? Get out of here. Power Christ compels you. And I myself do this. I sit there and I'm like, because there's a lot of trickery in it. But a lot of it is coming to awareness with our own fear and within our own unconsciousness. And once it comes to light, it's no longer shadow. Once it comes to light, it's no longer shadow. We are here in a game of polarity that plays with night side, light side, masculine, feminine, dualism, contrast, the chess game, the checkerboard, right? Like, we're aware of these things. We're aware of these things. So even when it comes to the lunar side of things, is that like there has been a lot of war over the moon, a lot of war over the moon, and a lot of war over Luna, tying back to sin.
Yes, thank you.
Sin.
Exactly.
The story of sin. And think about that. Like, you know, and this is back to the dogmatic structures. We are born of sin. Oh, really? We're born of sin? We are born of Luna. We are born of the feminine. I birthed through the womb of creation, through the mother into this form. Yeah, I am born of sin. But sin itself was holding a holographic construct based upon what happened with the moon. So to take our power back from the lunar lines and to honor the 13 goddess, right? And to really honor what that lunar feminine is for us, was to take the story of sin back and to now disregard the judgment we held over certain constructs that created sin. Because we needed a moral code, so we didn't all freaking kill each other on planet Earth. Because a part of creation is free will. But we also know what we can do with free will, right? So we were given a set of laws and rules to set an example for how we should be as a humanity. A lot of those constructs of the 10 Commandments, I agree with. It's just, don't be an asshole. Love your neighbor as you love thyself. There's some parts of it that are really true, but there's been a lot of distortion within the lines of sin and how we are connecting to consciousness, right? And even when it comes to the archetype itself holds a framework or a lens or a perspective. So if I say Lucifer, Archangel Lucifer, the separation, the fallen consciousness, the fallen matrix, you know, and it brings up all this stuff. It's always going to awaken that which you need to know within, because that's your sacred medicine. The one thing I learned about sacred medicine is that the medicine that you refuse is the medicine you usually need. The smells, the scents, the taste, the flavor that you're like, oh God, I do not want that. That's usually your greatest strength and greatest level of empowerment. And so within that, when we start to embody that consciousness and that animism and connect with it, we connect at a deeper level to who we are, and we dissolve the layers of separation to come back to what it is to be pure love. I recognize sources as eternal love. And I know you do as well, because we've connected to what that creative life force is and that energy. And oh my gosh, when you are connected to pure source, you're connected to the mother, father, and the divine child from within. Oh my gosh, the states of bliss are like,
yes.
Who needs drugs? Right. And that's the divine love we're all trying to get to, because we've all had tastes. We've all had taste of it, or we've been able to hold it for a little while in that expansion of what it feels like to hold that. And a part of this, this neutrality is that even when it comes to the shadows or the unconsciousness, once we bring it to light, it is no longer shadow. And that at the end of the day is us just connecting to a frequency, a consciousness, and how that consciousness translates to us based upon our energetics, our levels of consciousness, things of this. And this is why animism is really important in connecting to the consciousness within all these things, but also making sure we're not deifying anything. Because the other thing too is that I've noticed for myself that we can start putting this consciousness on pedestals and forget that we are that consciousness. We are that eternal spark, and it is no thing outside of us. And it is not hierarchical in order. It is from a oneness perspective. But I, as the human, can pedestal these things and create what we call false idols. And the false idols, now we can start becoming the whipping boy of consciousness, which is something that a lot of us have been going through lately. And I've seen a lot of men that are standing up. I think it was Glitch that was the last one that brought it up, where he's like, don't be a bully of spirit. Don't be a whipping boy of spirit. And even myself, I had to do that. I had to take my power back from spirit because I was taking these false idols and I was putting them on a pedestal, and they were like, oh, cool. Hey, little human, let's fuck with you. Right. And as a result, I had to say, no. And from a healthy level of respect, so I wasn't becoming the whipping boy of spirit. And then now I've got a healthy respect for consciousness, for purified source consciousness, but I also recognize that these archetypes and all these things exist within me, and a part of me listening to my DNA, listening to my body within my consciousness is because there's a lot of people that can still get teased and beaten on and bullied by spirit. And this is when we start to dive into the spiritual warfare, the spiritual tactics, or people listening to spirit, and it's a carrot on a stick. And I've seen this happen a lot. I've seen a lot of people following consciousness and their life doesn't get better. And it's like, what was the lesson from that? So I needed to listen to my own heart.
Right.
And also too,
we've talked about that before. I've never had those experiences where having these various consciousness that I just always saw it as source, just one source. You know what I mean? So it's like I kind of came into it without the fragmentation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Say that again. Sorry.
So it's just I find it interesting, however, whoever, everybody prays to, and, all these archetypes, I'll just say that, the archetypes and stuff like that. I've never experienced it like that where I would be the whipping girl, you know what I mean? Or any of that, or being pushed around by spirit. So it's an interesting concept that you bring that up. And I try to play it out and see how that works. It's just, it's an experience I've never had. And that sucks, honestly.
Well, a lot of it has to do with a lot of this has to do with the galactic lines. Okay. And I'll be real here. A lot of it has to do with the Galactic Federation of Light. I was just talking to someone about this before this. A part of me being a part of the GFL, the Galactic Federation of Light, is that there's been a lot of distortion and a lot of patriarch and hierarchy stuff in the storylines of the Galactics. So for me, because of my storyline, it fell into ancient Babylon and ancient Rome. And basically, it's like a lot of it had to do with the Galactics with the mission stuff, right? Where it's like, oh, it's like this. I want to go eat a hamburger, and you go reach for it, and they're like, no. And babysitter steps in and kicks your hand down. You're like, what the fuck? Why do I have a babysitter? Right? The Anus, the Archons, all of this stuff, right? Is that this is a lot of it tied into at the galactic levels, right? And a lot of it was pushing me to get my power on, right? So imagine praying for strength. You pray for strength. What do you think the universe is going to bring you? It's going to highlight all your weakness, and it's going to strengthen your resolve so you can find your power. If you want empowerment, the universe will disempower you, because that's the game of polarity. Whatever you pray for, you're going to receive the opposite of to find what it is. You want abundance, you're going to face all the lack to work through all that to find the abundant nature within that lack. And so this is why it's like they say, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it all, right? It's for myself, a part of me, my empowerment in the masculine constructs, witnessing all the different levels of the masculine archetype and choosing what fits right for me based upon my template and my origin story and what I needed to embody my power, was that the universe brought up that. So I worked through my victim, I worked through the bully stuff, which was a program that I encountered as a kid, being bullied a lot, and to also witness where I was the bully as well. So a lot of that is like, especially I became the whipping boy of spirit. Why? Because I was still holding third dimensional constructs. I was still holding slave programming. So the victimizer stepped up to be like, hey, motherfucker, right? Like a lot of it was helping me to come to a place of humility. It helped me to resolve my authority issues, because a lot of this thing has been about spiritual authority issues, where I'm not honoring God, where I'm not honoring source, where I'm not honoring myself, where I'm still living head over heart. You know, there's a lot that came through that, but a lot of it too was because it was LB that introduced me to this, which was being an advocate for yourself with spirit. Is that like, hey, I'm here in form. You know, yeah, you're setting out the commands and the orders and the directives, but I'm here in form, living out the game of polarity. You're not. Why aren't you here? Why didn't you sign up and come here? Right. And a lot of that helped me to take my power back, because there is a lot of middlemen, and there's a lot of stuff that people will listen to orders and listen to directives, and they will listen to their guides, and they don't know what the guides, they don't know the agenda of the guides and where the guides are taking them. So a lot of us have stopped channeling on purpose. You know, I'll still listen to guides in spirit. I'll still listen to my soul, but I take everything with a grain of salt, right? And I sit on it. I don't just go, yes, that's it, and then run with it. Let's sit with it. Say, how does it feel to you? How does it feel in your discernment? How does it feel in your soul? Is that right for you? Okay, yes or no? And that's been the biggest thing, is about sharpening our tool of discernment, awareness that there's a lot of stuff that occurs in the sorry, but we're playing in a game of separation still. Between me and source is still layers of separation. And in between that, there's a lot of different things. And so as a result, it was about, you know, especially being a part of the founder races. It's like, I'm Elohim. I created you. I created you. And now you are beating my ass. Okay. So now I need to make peace with that part of my creation and befriend it and become one with it, integrate it, and dissolve it. Because at the end of the day, it's all coming back to the programming that I hold within. A lot of people can get caught up in the messiness of the multidimensionality and what's going on in the interdimensional experience. But if I'm the base station of multidimensionality within my body, I have to look at my own programming. And this is why it's really important to step into simplicity, and for a lot of us to step out of the rabbit hole. Because you can get lost in there, and you can lose yourself in the game of polarity and play in polarity and not know you are. I've been there. And so I had to back out of the rabbit hole, out of the mysteries, to really go back to what's going on within. Doesn't matter what the historical record is or the archive, but what am I feeling? Because I'm the base station of this multidimensional expression. My form is here, anchoring the cosmos here. So as long as I'm working through my programming and dissolving my polarity, it will get simpler and easier. And so it's there's a lot of tests and initiations with this stuff. And I've come into my own realizations as a result of things, but it doesn't mean, once again, we don't fix to anything. We don't fixate to anything. So
no, I agree. It's like, I have a belief, I have a theory, whatever, one day, and then the next minute I'm on something else. You know what I mean? We're constantly changing and transforming every day. And it just, when you get fixed, I think then you get tied, and then you have expectations. And then if that expectation, you know, doesn't turn out, then you're pissed off, disappointed, whatever. It's just, I try to make every day, just take it one step at a time and see it as a discovery, an adventure. And that's just how I roll through, like, each day, whatever's going to come my way. And I go that, you know, I guess, and that's just living in the now. Because it's not, you know, with the timelines and stuff like that, everything's always changing. One action that I do will alter my course, or something else that's actually on my timeline. Somebody else can alter that timeline, you know? I always just see it as the big game, and the universe is sitting here moving all pieces and placing here and there all the time. I kind of, the whole idea about like our will and divine will, and surrendering to divine will. I mean, even though we have free will, there is, because I see the divine as me. So it's still me, it's still free will. but it's divine will. It's a higher sense of will. So it's removing the human aspects of all the other lower bullcrap and living day in and day out and seeing through the eyes of God. You know?
What helps you to see through the eyes of God?
Whew. What helps me see through the eyes of God?
For your own self and for others as well.
Compassion, just compassion, love, patience, just peace. Like, it's funny, I say see through the eyes of God, but it's a feeling space. It really is a feeling space. And then it translates the other way. There really, and you've said it too. Sometimes there just aren't words. There just aren't words to translate the experience. Just sit in it and feel it, and just embody it. You know?
Well, and that's back to our song. The soul song is feeling what that soul song is and allowing it to be what it is too, without the need to shift or to change it or to doubt it or to deny it, but to access it from a place of knowing that it exists within you and it is a space of feeling. Tuning into that signature and holding it. And I get it. I like that you said seeing through the eyes of God is a space of feeling. Because that's such a feminine and Sophianic frequency, which is the space of feeling. And it's like one of those things where it can't be, we can translate it the best we can, but that gets in the way, right? But it's just a knowing that all is perfect and all is well. But I also find that only comes through from a place of wholeness and of interconnectedness. Because if I'm in separation, it's really hard to feel the divine perfection. And this is where sometimes, even for myself, I find I have to be mindful with the words I speak and what I share with the collective, because I recognize not everyone is feeling as connected as me in every now moment. And sometimes that word of divine perfection can spark and ignite more separation or chaos or fury within others. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's another space of feeling that accesses back to the divine perfection. But I love how you stated that the eyes of God is a space of feeling and a place of compassion, of love. And that's our song. That's our soul song. So to tune into your soul song, Mel.
Yeah.
What's your soul song singing right now?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What is your soul song singing right
now? What is it singing right now? You're gonna make me go there. It's soft. It's just it's a gentle space. Blue lights. Sorry. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's just it's a melting. It's a melting away the energies. And you just feel the expansion. It saturates all of you. I don't know how to translate it. I really don't. All I can do is admit it.
I was gonna say, do you want to do some light language?
Oh, you love pushing me too. You're always like, you do.
You know my inner witness. You know I'm gonna push you to the ledge, but you're not jumping alone. You got a parachute and a safety net.
Oh, I know. I must have felt that coming because I just got like crazy heat just come down all over. That's funny.
It's up to you. We're going to honor your freedom, free will here. I'm not going to push you too hard, but I know you have something you want to express. And if it can't be through the babble, well, let's express it in another way.
All right. Let me feel into it. Shantai Raskunta. Inai Ulashkanta Tilupuna. Isakurushan. Ki ala kolashatatirusmai. Inaya Saikatiruskantam. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Ifimira kustenvada deveri singura dush tu Maria pakania vuta mana papa maseberia tunda achita kur si warakam budema deno nashe kare nu sevarande nu watata he no kadara kisura sheda ring de tatamar utur ni barati funda varia sande ve ki andu Kasi sande barashiran ikundu iti barreto kutukur usa resho mandu urungu so twani ta isindi urungu usavane baratu enava I won't go anda no che ranju su vande ikindu utwanda akira no sa chissà si sundu uru tarrangi quando è andato uno era una da buonezza tutto ruscendo. What's really neat about this whole experience, Mel, is that we're going to find each other on our journey through our unique essence and our unique signature. Words can get in the way of a lot of things because we have so many different belief systems, opinions, judgments, so on and so forth. And for us to truly witness the magic is to surrender into who we are as our unique essence and how that expresses and shows up in every now moment and how it chooses to, because there's free will choice in that. There's nothing wrong with the sacred expression within silence. And there's also so much beauty held within the song of the heart and the song within the soul as that radiates out through this. Whether it's providing comfort, nurture, support, whether it's holding space, or whether it is through translation or light language or song or poetry. For all of us, our individual expression, what our medicine brings forward in every now moment is perfect for us. And Mel, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
For bringing some important topics, you know.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you would like to share with us today? That's really just in the depth of your knowing that you want to just come forward and express.
I would like to share this poem with everyone. And you've heard it.
Okay.
But thank you. It's called The Ancient Ones. Look to the ways of the ancient ones, to the stories passed down through generations. Listen to the wind and the whispers it gives. Touch the earth and absorb the mysteries within. Feel the waters and secrets that meander and flow. Watch the fires that flicker, igniting your soul. The answers you seek are hidden in plain sight. Look all around you, feel its essence, its might. Call forth the elementals, the divas, the sprites. They will help guide you through the darkest of nights. See beyond physical sight. Look with your heart. That is your beacon of light. Feel the life force within you ignite. A sovereign being is your birthright. Look to the ways of the ancient ones, for they hold great knowledge and wisdom. They speak through the trees, the animals, and the bees. Just sit and listen. You'll hear their mysteries. Look to the ways of the ancient ones, for they know the sound and the rhythm. Commune with the heartbeat of Gaia. Feel her resonance flow with precision. The initial incision of separation and division has made us lose our collective vision. The time is now when we unite once more, where we reconnect to the myth and lore. All you have to do is walk through that open door. Look to the ways of the ancient ones, for they hold all that you seek. You must enter the chamber, the womb of the heart, in order to reach divine frequency. Although I speak in metaphors and allegories alike, please understand this is the language of light. The new earth teachings that carry my plight are meant to help guide and navigate your flight. Look with wonder, magic, and childlike delight, for you are guardians, keepers, and stewards of the light. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I love you all. Bless you. My heart's just like
power there. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. How are you doing? You good?
I feel ravished and I'm gonna rest.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm telling you, your soul ravishes you. You're just like
which is good. Mel, if there are people that want to find you, that want to find your work, that want to support you, that want to connect, how can they connect with you?
I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Meta Musings from a Multidimensional Mind. And then all my poetry is on Instagram at the number 4 Greta Minds 114. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that has been supporting me on my journey and has been checking in and listening to my musings. It really means a lot. And Cory, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing the space, for building this healthy container with me to be able to support and to unravel. And we will meet again. The journey doesn't end here, and that's what's really cool. Is the cosmic weaving. We keep weaving. So everyone, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for the likes, shares, and subscribes. Please go support Mel. She's showing up, right? And it's really beautiful to watch her shine, watch her flourish, and to watch her creation evolve. I very much support her work, and I'm so happy to see her stepping forward in her light, and really excited to see how all of us do that more, right? How we show up with who we are, and how much we might fear showing up as us, and how much support and love is held within that. Okay. If you want to come hang out with Mel and I and many others, patreon.com /founders of light. Come to Tuesdays with Cory, which is now, the days are changing, things are shifting, but Mel is a big part of that contribution and part of that experience with what we do with the Ancient Guardians, what we do with the song lines, what we've been doing with grid work, and how things are shifting in ceremony. Come hang out with us. Come hang out with us, right? It's really important for all of us to be able to hold within our own selves a container where we can express ourselves. Today, I invite you to find a new way to express yourself, uniquely as you, as your signature and as your song. Whether it's through singing, dancing, playing, art, it's a creative outlet. Whether it's sacred rage, a few push-ups, a few jumping jacks, running up a hill, hiking, whatever it is for you. I invite you to take a moment to express your song and to share it with yourself, with the universe, or with one another in however it wants to show up for you. We just have to get out of the way every once in a while. Get out of the way and just allow ourselves to show up in our unique expression and to allow ourselves to thrive and to shine within that space. I know it's available within you. It's available within all of us, and we're witnessing that miracle right here. And her name's Mel. Thank you, Mel. Oh, is your dad at home?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Well, perfect time to end it. I love you guys. Thank you, Mel, again, for all that you're doing. And guys, I'll have all of her links in the description box as well as all mine. And we'll see you guys soon. All right.